Hi everyone, it's Beth with the Live Good, Live Well podcast and YouTube show. I want to read a quick list as we are starting 2019. If you feel like you don't have time for something, I want to challenge you to analyze your days and how you're spending your time. I often feel like I have so much to do and not enough time to do it. At the end of the night, there's so much I want to read and write and create and absorb, and then it's time to go to bed, and I prioritize sleep over consuming content because sleep is important and we will always have the content at our fingertips. In 2018 I became a parent, technically at the end of 2017 when I met Tosca and Trevor, but I really stepped into the parenting role in 2018. And if you're not a parent, it's much different than what you're expecting, I will tell you. It's a lot more eating your words and exercising patience and making things a teaching moment and listening to the words but and fart more than you can imagine, and teaching good habits. We're working on picking up after ourselves, not picking our nose, washing our hands after we go to the bathroom, wiping our face, basic stuff like that. He's at the age now where these things are important for him to do instead of us to do, setting goals for himself. So we're teaching him to set the goal by the age of 10 to be able to brush his own hair. He has long hair and autism, so the sensory stuff is a bit more challenging. And to take a shower instead of a bath. He's quickly outgrowing the bathtub. He's tall, and when he lays down in the bathtub, he hits both ends of it with his head and feet, and so we're working on that. So we're working on a whole lot of things. That's a completely separate conversation. There are things that I want to teach him by each age, loosely. So like, when he starts to learn to drive, he'll need to be able to change his own tire and check the battery and do various things like that. Right now we're working on himself, being aware of himself, being mindful, being aware of his words and tones and his energy, how he interacts with the world, both outside of our home and within it. So parenting was one major thing I spent a lot of time and mental focus doing in 2018. We started doing Facebook Lives. I started a podcast. I redid my website, which now looks a lot more professional. I had highly customized it with different colors and themes and this sort of stuff, but Squarespace has amazing themes built in, and I got over myself and went with one of those. It has the color red as one of the primary colors. It's red, navy, and white mainly, and I typically steer away from red, but I'm starting to embrace it more. It's the color of love, it's the color of passion, it's the color of anger, which I've learned to embrace as an emotion. I've tried to steer clear of it, but it's also just a feeling to show us what we care about. And so I've embraced the color red. You can see it on my shirt, and you can see it in the painting behind me there. We started Cub Scouts. We joined the PTA. I learned that we have a new sister. My stepdad has a daughter that he didn't know about that found him in the summer. She has a little girl. So my parents' grandkids doubled with Trevor and with our niece there last year, so that was really exciting. I read 2 books in about 36 hours. We'll call it 48 hours for a rounding. I read Forward by Abby Wambach, and I read Love Warrior by her wife, Glennon Doyle. And I wasn't really planning on reading these. I just started reading one Thursday night and finished it on Saturday morning, and then finished that one on Sunday morning. Started the second one and then finished the other one. And to read those in the same weekend was like really empowering, because I've always thought that I was not a good reader, and I read 2 books in essentially a weekend, and they're not just, hour reads. Like, it took several hours, and I did it, and I was quite proud of myself, because I've always had this notion of I'm not a good reader, I'm a slow reader, things like that, and I'm not. I read it quite fast, and it's not the first time that I've done that. Laugh if you will, but I read Twilight in 23 hours. I read the subsequent books in just about the same amount of time. So it's not a matter of that I can't, it's the matter of I need to find the right books at the right time and integrate those into my life. What else did we do? Took a couple of trips. I didn't really travel. I wouldn't call it I traveled last year. I went on a road trip with my family to go to Colorado for my uncle's funeral, and I went to California in August for a work trip for my life coaching this business. Did a whole lot of other things in the middle there, but I just wanted to do a little bit of a quick recap on what we can accomplish. There's so much more, that those were just a few things that I had jotted down. I'd kind of removed myself from the life coaching world for a bit. I still have clients, but I wasn't as active in the group that I went through the class with for a while, and I kind of re-emerged in that in July and August, because I needed that support. I also worked on flipping a couple of houses last year, which one is now sold and closed. Another one is now being resolved in a slightly different way. I need a haircut in a bad way. I had to reschedule to next weekend, unfortunately, which is about 3 weeks longer than I used to go. So my hair is like. So this year, what are you planning on doing? What do you have as a resolution? And I don't like the word resolution. I want to change it to goals, intentions, dreams into reality, whatever you want to make it, but we need to bring it down into something that's consumable and doable. In 2012, instead of resolutions, I made them very tactical, check-offable items. I did things like I wanted to switch from using sugar in my coffee to honey. I did that. Check. I wanted to switch from buying detergent to making my own. Did that. Have been doing that since then. Check. Saved hundreds, if not thousands of dollars since then. And just little things like that I wanted to do, and I made them. I took the big goals and broke them into smaller ones. I wanted to start buying more handmade and local business goods and services instead of shopping at big box stores and companies that don't care who I am or what I am. And I did that, and I have been doing that. It's a blend, but I try to spend with small businesses more than big businesses if I can. It's generally higher quality. If you can get a pair of handmade shoes, they will last forever. Or a pair of anything. Small batch jeans with selvage denim, they're probably 5 times the cost of what you're thinking of paying $20 for a pair when they're on sale at American Eagle or whatever. But that pair of jeans will last you for a decade or more. And so I'm focusing on intentional consumerism. And this year, I'm working on not buying things that I don't need. That's a big deal for me because I'm a Taurus. I'm very materialistic. And you can see along here the number of field notes journals, that I have. It's way too many. I don't need that many. I don't even use that many. That's why they're sitting on a shelf. I try to rotate them in and out. But nonetheless, it is a goal of mine to not buy needless stuff this year. I'll obviously buy food, toiletries, the basics that I need, but I'm working on not buying clothes, shoes, and accessories this year, which is a big deal. That money will go towards instead our wedding and setting up savings for Trevor and some other family members, and investing and paying off some debts and all of these other things that our money needs to go to at this point in our life, saving to buy a house and those sorts of things. And I just feel that that is important for my life where I am right now. And for you, it might be different. You might be in a place of you've done all that. You've bought a house, you've paid off your credit cards, you don't have a car payment, you're in a really good place, and you want to you want to start curating a wardrobe that is really good quality stuff that will last you a long time. I have some shirts that are 5 years old. I have a few that are 8 years old. I can't wear them right now because I've gained a little bit of weight, but if I could, they would still be like, I could wear them once a week and it wouldn't be a big deal at all. I bought some nice shirts when I first started my job 8 years ago, the one that I have now, and had to dress really nice, and they're still in amazing quality, and there's nothing wrong with them other than I have gained some weight. These glasses, I paid $6 for them. They're blue light blocking glasses. I got them on clearance, on top of a clearance, and they will probably last for years to come. I have a few really nice pens. This is made of brass, and it's refillable, and I don't have to buy pens. I buy ink refills maybe once a year if some runs out, but I don't really need to buy those sorts of things. I try not to buy disposable stuff as much as possible. I do have some. I have this pen, disposable, but also refillable if I would like, but nonetheless, I'm working on not buying and not consuming things that I don't need and don't serve a higher purpose than just a one-time use. When that comes to going to Target, for example, sometimes we go for one thing, like say toilet paper, and we come out with like $60 worth of stuff because we needed peanut butter and bread and honey and all of these things, and so we ended up using a bag. What I want to do is just to start taking in a reusable bag. We have like 10 of them, and just having it just in case, whether we're going in for one thing or 5. That way we're not wasting single-use plastic bags. Texas is not one of the states that has been progressive in that issue, or a lot of issues, and so people will put like one thing in a bag, and then what? Then we just throw it away. It doesn't go away. It goes to the ocean, it goes to a landfill, it goes into an animal's digestive tract. There's just not a lot of good that comes from things like that. So those are the things that I'm working on in 2019. Other things are focusing on our relationship and communicating better and learning, and I'm learning a lot more about astrology. I have an astrology planner, and I have an astrology book. The only astrology book you'll ever need is the title of it. Tosca got it for me for Christmas, and it's so like meaty and full of information that just feels like it makes the world make sense. I got a telescope for Christmas, and so we've been exploring that, how to see things like the tops of trees and also stars and planets. So we're playing with that. So I'm learning about the placement of that and how to focus and tweak it and things like that. Creating more content, videos. I did a writing challenge in December for the Goodman Project, and the challenge was to post an article a day. While not an article a day got posted, I did 31 articles, one per day for the month. And this was a big deal because I'm not great at finishing things. I'm really good at having ideas and getting things started, but if you look at my eyebrows, it tapers off here. And that's one of the things that I learned about a few years ago, was the art of face reading, or the power of face reading. And that's not going into expressions, but our actual facial features. And if you want the book on that, it's called The Power of Face Reading by Rose Rosetree. And it's really cool. It's a little bit quirky and cheesy, but it has really good information in it. I deviate from the main point of this, but if you want to learn more about face reading, I would be happy to share what I know, which is not a lot in the big scheme of it, because there's so much. So another little thing is, noticing people. So you can't really see my ears when you look straight on, right? You can see a little bit. You'll notice people's the width of their mouths, the plumpness or thinness of their lips, the width of their nose, the pointiness of their nose, the size of their cheeks in relation to their forehead, the forehead in relation to the rest of the face, the eyes. Every part of our face makes up who we are and represents characteristics of us, how we listen, how we communicate, how we deal with logic and reasoning and problem solving, and it's just really cool. And that is one of the things that I prepare to dive back into this year as I'm learning. Everything I read in astrology right now tells me to be a student. So I'm doing a 31-day class with Robin Rice. It was one of the free classes that she gave away for the month of January. I'm learning and getting a holistic nutrition, I think, certification through Smart Majority. And I'm learning about astrology and astronomy, like I said. So I'm trying to fill my brain and be a student right now. I don't know what it all means or where it would all lead, but I love learning and I'm formalizing it a little bit. I'm not going back to school or anything like that, but I'm actually taking classes instead of just reading continual articles, because some people put value in certifications, and so I want to see what more certifications makes sense for me. I have a college degree, I have a life coaching certification, and that's about it. I've never put much weight into those, but I'm focusing on that a bit more than I have this year. I'm I'm accredited investor. I don't know what other certifications I have, but those seem to be the ones that come to mind right now. I seem to have been a master of none and a student of many. A jack of all trades, but master of none, I think, is the term. So what to expect from me this year? I will be putting out some courses, more writings, more videos, more podcasts. I have some really cool guests lined up for my podcast. A friend of mine, Melissa Drake, is doing a TED Talk at the end of March. I'll be getting married. Yeah, a lot of stuff coming up this year. I also am an affiliate for Soul CBD. CBD oil. If you're interested in that, there's a link on my website, livegoodlivewell.com. You can find it at the top of the page there. I'm also an affiliate for Wonderlust. So Wonderlust festivals and events, you can find the link there. Again, livegoodlivewell.com, just as it sounds, no spaces, dashes, or anything like that. And there's a few other links of stuff that I'm not an affiliate for, but it's other cool brands. My fiance's brand is on there. Some small businesses such as Thrux Lawrence and Craft and Lore and Folkland and stuff like that are there. Just really cool brands that I follow and have been a fan of over the years. All right, this is Beth with the Live Good, Live Well podcast and show. Live Good, Live Well lifestyle is something I'm going to be focusing on. So a whole lifestyle of how to live better. I'll be putting out some checklists, some do's and don'ts to kind of what I do for myself. I drink a ton of water. I drink not a ton of coffee. I drink coffee once a day, usually, sometimes twice a day, but usually just in the mornings. I make my own laundry detergent. I cook as many meals at home as I can. I eat a lot of Chipotle. I don't eat fast food, really, aside from Chipotle. I really try not to. We do Chick-fil-A when Trevor needs to eat it out, and Red Robin once or twice a month. But other than that, I don't do things like Burger King or McDonald's or Taco Bell or Taco Bueno or really anything like that, because it just doesn't add to my life. I feel like it takes from it. And I try to only do things that add to it. And I try to do things that are very beneficial, either to myself or to others, or optimally to both. And cooking at home with fresh, raw, organic ingredients is the biggest component of that. I recently started taking supplements on a daily basis. I take, right now I'm taking Catalyst Gold, and once those are finished, I will take Qualia by Neurohacker. And I've taken both of these before very intermittently. I can tell a difference. I can tell a difference in the way that I'm speaking right now, in the speed of it, and my focus. And I just think it's so fascinating that we're going beyond Flintstone vitamins that you can buy at any grocery store into the world of nootropics and other high-quality supplements, into CBD and THC. While I've never consumed THC, I do give my dog CBD right now, and it helps her immensely with inflammation and pain and things like that, as she's almost 12 years old and has some arthritis and other things. So if you find yourself needing just something, whether it's coaching, whether it's CBD, whether it's some tickets to Wonderlust, whether it's a recipe on how to make your own laundry detergent, I would love to help you with that. There's a lot of information on my website. There will be more in the coming days, weeks, months, etc. as I get it typed up and formatted and pretty to share out. There are cooking recipes. We'll be making some simple syrups, so we may do a video on those. I'll put the recipe out if not, at a minimum, and I look forward to sharing more in 2019. It's the year of 3, and that is really cool. Anyway, Beth with Live Good, Live Well. Cheers.